Hey, yo, Harry, you crazy for this shit.
La música de Harry Flow.
The interviews talking plug talk, got my name off of drug talk.
Told you, they don't make niggas like the boys no more, man.
The interviews talking plug talk, got my name off of drug talk.
They think I be glorifying the street shit. Not at all.
The interviews talking plug talk, got my name off of drug talk.
I been glorifying how far we came, nigga. From the bottom.
The interviews talking plug talk, got my name off of drug talk.
Y'all niggas wanna know about it though.
Once again, man, we back. Sunday Smokers podcast. This is what we do, man. We here every week. This is 7 weeks straight with my co-host. Introduce yourself, Jared.
You on mute, my guy. That's all good, man. I go for the great one.
Yes, sir. Team Fresh Dog Water, bro. Fresh Dog Water. We got Dak back this week. It's fresh.
And of course, you got your boy here, you know what I'm saying? LaMarvelous, your humble commissioner. Just so happens I also happen to be the top team in the league at 5-1, you know, lots of points.
Flex.
Say it again.
I said big flex.
Yeah, man, you know, just got to be able to do something. Just got to be able to, you know what I'm saying, enjoy it while you got it. Because in this league,
well, you know, the great, self-proclaimed, also voted best team in the league. You know, for some of those haters.
Power rankings.
You know, that's not a conversation. But go ahead, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're not really here for that. Well, we could toot ourselves on toot our own horn, pat ourselves all day on the back. We're here to get into these matchups and do what we usually do. Week 6 was rivalry week. Some of our listeners might not know, but us in the league, we have that circled on the schedule twice a year. And we'll just start off with my rival, who finally, for the first time, I think this year, broke 100 points, and that's the Jeffersons. Good old Dick himself, still 0-6, still winless, still desperate. The smell of desperation is a stench that just does not rinse off. You got to hot water and scrub that with some bleach or something. Oda, what'd you see here, man?
Well, this week when I look over here at potential double Dick, because he's 0-6 now, and it's not a good look, especially when you started the right running back and you still couldn't get the win. You know, we've been harping on you all season about the conundrum. This week you didn't have much trouble with that. I mean, they made the decision for you. You started the right quarterback this time also, so the conundrum didn't hurt you, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you played against a better team. And that's really what happened this week is Christian Mingle has a better team. I mean, when I look at it across the board, I mean, you got guys with 20 points, 18 points, average about 20 points per player, 15, 17 points. You go in and get a win every week. And doesn't look like very much bench bacon on either team. But like I said, in this situation, it was just a better team versus a dickish type team. And if you don't win those games, then, you know, you probably need to readjust your fantasy hopes.
I appreciate that. And I also appreciate that you can put your analyst hat off and take your, you know, biased, you know, owner's hat off. And that's something that Dick was not able to do when he sent his power rankings in. Jared, go ahead. Let's please talk to me about this matchup a little bit, man. What are you seeing out of Troy, and what does his future hold?
I mean, his future looks brighter than the past. I mean, it has to, because the past is winless. So, I mean, he's got Godwin coming back. He's got Zeke putting up some points. He's looking like he's trying to not be double Dick this year. So, you know, he's kind of figuring out some of the conundrums that he had earlier on. And, you know, Dick is still in contention for Dick, but, you know, I think he gets one. He ran into, you know, the number 1 team in the league, 5-1. So, you know,
I just so happen to also be his rival. But Jared, you say, you know, his future looks brighter than his past. But how do you, I wanted to double back on you because I'd love to hear some kind of like maybe you could find the silver lining in the cloud, and maybe you could tell us. And then maybe, you know, when Dick hears this, he'll have some kind of motivation, because I don't see it. I don't see a team that's this bad with this kind of roster, with multiple players scoring underneath 10 points. What do you see that makes you think that the future is brighter?
Well, I mean, Cam Akers potentially traded here soon. You know, you got. You know, Zeke stepping up, I guess, a little bit, and you know, like I said, Godwin's back, so it's a little more hopeful than it was, you know, before. I don't know. You know, that's the best I could do, man. That's
It's
the
a head
best I could
scratcher.
do.
You,
Yeah,
you,
that's the
you
best I
did,
could do.
you
It's a
did
head
your
scratcher.
best. You did your best. And you know what? That was, again, a very nice analytical job there. I did notice that he did finally fix some of the conundrums that he had going on. But Oda, he did call. I was chastising him all week. He didn't know what he was gonna do when Clyde Edwards-Helaire came out and actually did his thing. Oh no, it wasn't even Clyde. It was who was that at the night game? I had
Kenny Walker.
I did. I think Kenneth Walker and Marquise Hollywood Brown were in the night game, and afternoon games. And I think after that, he told me he was going to start Zeke, but then he told me he was going to start Mike Boone. So then he switched his lineup and put Boone in and took Zeke out. Then he put Zeke back in and took Boone out, and he actually made the right decision. Oda, what do you think is the problem with these conundrums? And do you think he really has them fixed, or do you think he just got lucky?
Well, let's just go back to the future is bright thing. Let's be
Yeah,
real. I mean,
let's
I guess
start
the
there.
future is bright if you shine a bright light on it. Yeah, but I mean, when you take the light off of it, it's dark. So I mean, I don't really know what to say much about that. I mean, I'm trying to see what future there is. I mean, it's a lot of holes, and we got to mind you, like we're just looking at this week. You talk about next week when buys hit, and like I told you earlier in these podcasts, some guys are gonna be hurting on the buys, man. You know, but shop's always open. You know, so
Hey, I didn't say it looked bright. Okay, I said it looked brighter than the past.
I'm brighter than the
It
past.
looked brighter
Right?
than the past, bro.
Yeah.
Little bit lighter than, you know, the darkest dark of night. You know, so.
Jarek, what do you think the over under that Troy scores 100 points next week is? What's the likelihood?
I mean, you know, I'll put him at just over like a 1-0 something, you know, just under 110, I'd say.
What about you?
First,
You know.
I'm gonna say my projections for the pick'ems. You know, I'll tell you what, 'cause I want to be able to look at his roster, but I have to put my money on it yet.
I respect that too, and we are going to get into that in the pick'ems for sure. But I'm just saying, when you look at a roster like this, when you got guys like James Robinson and Terry McLaurin, and like, look at his bench. If Cam Akers does get traded, he's going to whatever team he's going to be at to make sure that he brings Gatorade, you know, to the rest of the running backs
Right.
committee,
Right.
and things like that. So I don't know. I'd like to take a couple more minutes to shit on Troy, because he is my
Please
rival,
do.
and I
As a rival, you should.
yeah, I put my foot in his ass quite well, but there's a lot of other rivalries I want to get to, and I want equal opportunity to shout upon said teams. But Troy, do remember this, man. I am a better fantasy manager than you. I always have been, always will be, and this is just what you get twice a year. So that's kind of that.
Hey,
that's
keep
kind of
in
that.
mind,
with my
if he
matchup.
had got Taysom Hill, it wouldn't have mattered for him either.
Oh no, and that takes. No, I'm so glad you said that. Before we get off of here, I want to let the listeners know how petty I was for rivalry week. I knew that Troy had Dick. I knew he had no tight end, and I was so petty that I spent 74 of my fab dollars, and I only had 76, just to secure that Troy couldn't have a possible breakout game from Taysom Hill. I started him just for that. He had 4.5 points. That's not the point. The point is, I will do anything to make sure Troy falls on his face and loses. Anything. Let that simmer in your head, Troy, as the listeners here. But no, I don't want to take any more time talking about bottom feeder Troy. I didn't say feeders because he is literally the bottom. And that's okay. I live in San Francisco. Some people are proud bottoms. Moving on to bottoms. Let's talk about the next matchup here, which would be oh boy,
First down killers.
Neither of you guys won this week, huh?
That'd be first down killers versus Obi-Wan Mahomey.
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, why not? I was gonna save the best for last because, oh man, go ahead, man. Let's talk about this. Oh, to jump this one off, man, because I know you got plenty to say.
There's not much to say, but there's no undefeated teams anymore. I know that's much to say. Thanks to the mismanagement. Well, I mean, guys didn't show up that he thought was going to show up, and he always thinks his guys are going to show up, and they didn't. And like I told guy, man, it's a long fall, especially when the rocks fall down with you, man. But as you'll see, he started the wrong tight end. He got George Kittle on the bench. Didn't start him. Man, that wouldn't really mattered anyway. He lost by more than that. So it really wasn't much going on here. Champ came out, got a good win. His quarterback finally showed up. Got some points out of Juju. Juju hadn't been getting much all season. So
yeah, facts.
Facts. It was a pretty good game over here, man. I was glad to see first down killers take a loss. Man, I'm tired of him talking shit in the chat. And he had to be humbled a little bit. So, it is what it is. It wasn't much to see here. Good game by the Obi-Wan, but mid game for the most part. What do you think over there, Jared?
Hey, mid about sums this one up, man. Also, happy. There's no undefeated teams left, and he's been yucking it up, coming at us tough, like he hasn't been there before because he hasn't. So I can't blame that man. He can't. He's been hard with the shit talk this year. Juju showed up for what is it, week 6, 7? Shit, man, that dude, he's been absentee. 0 from Valdez, and he still got the dub. So anytime you're taking a beating as an undefeated team, taking a beating with a guy with a plumb 0 on his roster in his starting lineup, that's not a good week for you. And you should that should cull some of the shit talk at least for the next week until you win again. That's about it on this matchup. Started the wrong tight end. George Brettel, why is he on your team if he's not gonna play? So that's about it. Is there any ravaging you can get on these fools being?
Well, I plan to ravage, and again, just to touch on what you just said about the Kittle thing, when you spend that kind of capital on supposed to be a top 3 to top 5 tight end in the league, you've got to know to start that guy. No one should have to tell you. You shouldn't have to go to the starter sit tool, you know what I'm saying, on whatever website you use. But that kind of leads into what I wanted to say. Now, I want to paint this picture. Like Jarek said, a lot of shit talk was going on, and I'm sure Oda's going to touch on that here just in a couple moments. But let me paint the picture for the listeners. So Peanut comes into the week. They have a battle on Sunday. And then on Monday, Peanut, I believe, had Herbert, Mike Williams, Melvin Gordon, and I think it was Hopkins, the kicker for the Chargers. And on Sunday, boy, oh boy, you'd have thought Peanut had won the entire week.
He was talking crazy.
I mean, talking like somebody that just wouldn't ever have the chance of losing. And I warned him. I said, and you warned him too, Oda. Jared, you actually did too. We warned him that you got to be humble. Points only count once they're scored in fantasy. And they came out to combine, all 4 of those players combined for,
not enough.
23 points, but 13 of those points were his kicker. And I mean, he talked like he had it. Now, this is just my personal perspective, and I'll shoot it around the room because, sometimes you gotta mentor these young guys, or these, not even young guys, just guys that just have never been there. Day oneers. Peanut has never won a championship. So when a champion was talking to him, giving another champion was, all 3 champions are talking to you, and you're not listening. You're just so happy to be in the moment. When you've never been there, sometimes it's hard to make those decisions that a guy that's been there would make. You feel what I'm saying, Oda?
I totally understand what you're saying here, man. And when you think you got it and you don't, Peanut's not used to riding high. and taking these big lumps in the chest. You know, he's used to riding low and getting kicked while he's down. So, you know, in this situation, he thought he had the win, man. And I told him, I was like, you know, he said he had a better chance of winning than me. And we get to my game, and I don't think he did. You know, I think I might have had the better chance when I look at it because he had four guys. He was down 30 points, I think it was.
It wasn't 30. It was 23 points.
23 points? 4 guys, man, to go.
13.
And I believe he had like a 70% win chance or something like that. It was something crazy. And that miracle didn't show. I believe it was more like a, you know, humble B tuna moment. Like, you know, calm down, relax. You know, you're still in second place though, but like I said, the goal is to make the playoffs and win the championship.
Again,
not to have the best regular season record.
And just you saying that is already the advice he needed to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that deep. When you don't have the history of being successful, you know, when you were punted off, you know, for years upon years, and winning games by less than a point, you know, of course he's excited. He's like a kid at Christmas. Jarek, you remember your first champion? You remember your championship, right?
Yeah,
man. And when you see a guy making these kind of mistakes, celebrating points that haven't been scored yet, counting, you know, chickens that haven't hatched and don't even have eggs at all, just to hope for so. What do you think, as coming from a champion's perspective and an analyst as well? What does it make you think about a guy acting like that and celebrating prematurely? What advice would you give?
Really? I mean, you got to get the dub before you can really run it up, you know, especially about that week, you know. You can get in your predictions and shit, but if you're acting like you're the king cock in the farm there, just strutting around, bro, you might get the punt, you know. So this week he got his punt, put up the change the 0 to a 1 in the boss column.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard much more out of him this week, you know. So
No,
he's kept it to a low roar,
very
dull roar,
very low roar. And it's and again, you know, I don't want to spend too much time giving this man the sauce, you know, the ingredients to make the perfect sauce. But you know, I've seen teams go, you know, start 0-4, 0-5, 0-4 in my case, and then, you know, finish 7-7. So, you know, and I've seen it. Well, I don't know if I've ever seen it that way in this league, but there are teams that start off, you know, 5-0, and then next thing you know, they're 5-5, and the whole season is just not having that same kind of ring to it. Oda, you got any advice for Peanut? Because obviously you've already, you know, spread some.
I got plenty of advice, man. It starts with an FYT. Fuck your team.
Yeah, it's nice to see that loss.
Well, I guess, you know, we're done sunning Peanut, and, you know, Peanut, you won the analyst pool, and we give you that. But again, you know, that's not an SSL championship, you know, unless, you know, until you get one, you might just want to, you know. Yeah, but you know, again, I'm not here to give advice. I'm just.
Is that what's boosting his head? Is the analyst pool?
I don't know. You know, you bring up a good point. You do bring up a good point, because he was not as rah-rah last year, was he, Jim?
No, not at
it
all.
might be a combination. I guess that 5-0 start probably did it, but yeah, like I said, going 5-0, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. That means you drafted a good team. Now you got to manage a good team, man. And you know, we'll see at the end of when the cream rises. You know, so
that is primo fantasy talk and advice right there. That's a good time to go ahead and move on. And let's go ahead and move on to the highest scoring point total of the week. And oh man, happy birthday to you, Nico. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. But it's impossible to really enjoy your weekend when you get smashed like this. I mean, we talking Kilroy's on Kirkwood Thursday night, Thirsty Thursday. We talking about girls hanging over the front fence out there, you know, and you don't even want none, but then it just throwing it at you. Next thing you know, you kicking her out. This is the kind of shit that Grey Poutron did to Nico this week. This was an absolute, you're my rival. We don't make a whole lot of noise. I have one win. I'm gonna fuck you up. Jarek, What do you where did this come from Tron?
Man, I don't know because he got 3 quarterbacks on his fucking team. So
We talked
you
about
know, he got no depth. You know, Tron just put it together. He picked up Daniel Jones. He got a 17. You know, so it's really just his core team that fucking got him through. You know, got him all his points there. You know, nothing special at the quarterback either.
No.
I don't know how he ended up at 142. To be honest, I'm gonna have to do some math.
Yeah, right. I'm thinking about that as well because I'm looking at these numbers and it really, hey, but you know what, Jarek? Before we move on to Oda, I will say the Deion Jackson cat had 23 and Jamar Chase finally showed up with 30. Talk to me about the guys you drafted showing up on a weekly basis and not starting the guys that you drafted that you've had, you know, the entirety of their career, as in Trevor Lawrence. Tell me how it feels. You know what I'm saying? How is Tron feeling about the guys he drafted really stepping up for him?
I think he might be feeling good about some of them, but it's another situation of a conundrum, man. I mean, you got Trevor Lawrence, you got Daniel Jones, you got Dak Prescott. You don't know which quarterback to start. Your best quarterback was on the bench. You kind of got lucky this week because when I look over at the other roster, it's just bad roster management, man. You could have won this game had you started your bench. You got the bench making on the bench. Everybody could have been plugged in. You could have put Pierce in at the flex. You could have had, you know, Thielen in with his 14 points at the wide receiver. And you definitely could have had your boy Gesicki in the game at the tight end position over Tyler 2-point Conklin. And with that, I mean, that's your win right there. You get those points in there, you got 150 points, and you win this game. And there is no great Putron turning into Megatron. But instead, you know, you got beat over the head with Chase and Deion Jackson, one of your own Indiana football players. You know, when you're supposed to pick that guy up after you got Hines. I mean, I don't really know what's going on here. Like, it's just, you know, a lot of bad roster management, like we talk about, man. You got to be able to manage the roster when you draft these guys and pick them up. You got to know who to start and who not to start. And, you know, sometimes it's out of your control, but in this situation, you definitely picked up Alec Pierce to start him. You didn't pick him up to put him on the bench. You know, Gesicki, come on now. And Thielen, well, I don't understand why these guys aren't starting, but, you know, Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where, you know, like you just said, and you gave the sauce to Peanut. It's you win half. Only half the battle is the draft. You know, you start with a good team at the draft, but you got to be able to manage it. And this is just a plain and simple mismanagement of a team. This had to hurt. And the only thing that I wanted to point out, and Nico, you make sure you hear me when I say this, it warmed my heart to see you play Devin Duvernay over your own Indianapolis professional football player. That means you believe in Lamar Jackson. That means you believe in the Ravens more than you believe in the Horseshoes. And that just brought such joy. I even texted you and told you, but I want you to hear it again on the podcast as well for all the listeners. Oda, before we go to Jarrett, 3 tight ends. Give them your spiel. You do it every week. Give them the spiel.
When you don't know which tight end to start, man, you got an Indiana football player, you got a Gesicki guy, and you got this guy, Tyler Conklin. Who are you going to start? You're going to drop 2 of them. That's what you need to do. Start off that way. Drop 2 of them so you don't have to make this decision every week, man. Stop rostering all these damn tight ends, guys. Get better with your team. Shit. Out of this.
That's so funny you say that. And then before we move on, Jared, tell yo, because you know we all homers to an extent. We got to start our guys, but I mean, this guy is a super duper homer. He is the biggest homer we know in the league. Why did you pick up your homer tight end of all positions, Jared? Why would you pick him up and just not start him at all?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You know, these guys picking up players to sit on their bench. You know, you can only start 1 tight end. You see what Dak's back. I dropped Will Dissly this week. You know what I mean? That's gangster moves, even though my record doesn't reflect it. You know, it's, you know, you're playing your stars, and then Kenny Gainwell, he dropped him this week. He puts up 2.5. He's gone. You know, it's roster management. You're dropping the wrong rostered players. You need to drop a couple of tight ends. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work out in your favor when you're rostering multiple players who you can't start.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just trash. You got no faith in you got no faith in your Colts. It hurts. 12 on the bench. That's what he gets you. 9.7 on the bench. So
Yes, that's
I don't
20
know.
points. That's 20 points on the bench. That's 20 points just from Indianapolis players on his bench. I mean, you hit well on it with the, and then Naheem Hines is still on the team. He hasn't dropped him though. So, but Jarek, before we move on, it's like I said, man. People, your record might not reflect it, but your hardware does. Your jewelry does. You know what I'm saying? Your championship does, and that's something that Nico does not look like he's going to know anything about anytime soon. Bless your heart and happy birthday, Nico. I hope you had a good one, man. It's all love, but sheesh, it smells bad. This love smells like shit. Get it together, man. Do better. Do better. Slogan of the show. All right, let's move on to oh man. Let's talk. Oh, we got the battle of the crazies. This I'm gonna tell you now. This rivalry this week was the most lit. This motherfucker was lit. These guys talk shit against each other all week. They dominated the chat. I tip my dick cap to these guys. Dominators versus Motor Great Dick. This was Mitchell's coming out party. Pause. This was the week that he said, you know what? I'm coming out. I need the world to know. Gotta let it show. And he made Dom his as he would call him, his sub. Instead of being a dominant, and it's a cool little play on words. Jarek, please, man. I don't have much to say here. This was just a dog fight. This is what a rivalry week should be about. And it looks like you might be moving around, so I'm gonna pass it to Oda Great first. Oda Great, this is what you want rivalry week to be about. You'd like to see some more points. What was your take on this one?
Well, like you said, I'd like to see some more points, especially when guys are not dealing with buys. This low 100 score, with these great drafted guys is not going to get it, man. But I mean, this week Mo did what he said he was going to do, man. He came and he beat Dom. It wasn't much of an ass whooping. I mean, he did have a guy with 0 on his lineup, so I guess you technically can say you beat somebody's ass if you beat him with a guy that's not playing. So, I mean, so I mean, that's technically it was an ass whipping. So I mean, I'm looking over at Dom's team now to try to see like what could he have done to make anything better. There's not much bench bacon. It's not much he could have done. I mean, he's got guys on bye, but not really guys that make a difference, really, or have made a difference recently. So, I mean, it was a great week for Mo this week, man. He's winning. He's on top. He's got the glory. He's got these 2 tight ends, man, but they only got him 13 points.
He had 3 last week. At least he's going in the right direction.
Well, he's got 4 still. He's rostering 4 still. He's rostering 4 still. But and he started the wrong one as usual.
Looks like a conundrum.
Always a conundrum when you got 4 tight ends, my guy. Always a conundrum. And you started the wrong defense, but hey, you got the win. Now, I'm just want to let you know, you're not going to be the team in the league with 107 points. It's not going to happen. So, like I told you in the chat, you guys, these guys at the top, man, that haven't been there, Peanut and Motor Great Dick, you're talking a lot, man, but the fall is hard, especially when the rocks come down with you. So I just want you to be aware, man.
It sounds like this proverb is going to be sticking around for a while. So maybe I'll get that memorized. Be able to put that in the rotation. Jarek, I was going to ask you just about bench bacon, but as you touch on that, definitely this whole shit talking from these 2 guys. Notice there's 3 guys tied for first place in the SSL. There's 1 guy that has not said very much of anything. And then there are these other 2 guys that have the same record that are just loud and obnoxious and just feel like, they're going to just world beaters. You know what I mean?
Which one has a championship?
What do you think the difference, Jarek, is between the 3 guys at the top with the same record right now?
Shit, man. I don't know.
There's
know?
A championship.
Who all's got the same record though? That's what I'm
A
saying.
championship.
yeah. Oda's got the right
Oh,
answer.
you're talking about.
We're-
Oh, okay.
Okay,
You're
we're talking about the top
Peanut?
team. Yeah, there's two teams that are talking hella shit, and then there's one other team that's not talking shit.
Oh, okay.
What's the difference, in your opinion, and why the shit talk is happening and why it's not happening from the other guy in between those two guys? What's missing between? What's different? What stands
who's not
out?
the shit talker is my question. 'Cause
Yeah, and
y'all,
that's-
y'all all be talking some shit.
Me?
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. You're not. Are you considering yourself not a shit talker? That's my question. That's the question here.
Hey, here's the thing, Jared, and before I hit it back to you, I don't consider myself a shit talker because I can back it up and I have the hardware to prove it. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Okay. Oh, he went to
You
get
gotta
it.
go get the
All
dope.
right.
Hey,
I
man.
hear you. I hear you.
what
Man,
I'm
you
saying?
know.
So what I'm asking you is, what is the and let's not even act like the shit talk is on the same level. You know what I'm saying? These guys are talking shit like they are world beaters.
Oh, that's facts.
So what
Yeah,
I'm saying
I
is, what's the difference between the three of us, and why do you think I'm not talking as much shit, and these guys are just world beat? Oh, well, yeah, he was prepared. He knew this was coming. He knew
There
this
it
was
is.
coming. All right,
He whipped it out. Oh,
he
here
whipped
goes
it out
whipping out
quick,
belts
boy.
tonight. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
just talk some shit on these guys.
Hey, I'm
man.
just saying, yo, Motor Great Dick, he got a decent squad this year. And you know, he barely eked out this one. But you know, roster management, like Oda always harps on, he's beating Dick right now, you know. With roster management, you got too many tight ends. It's becoming an epidemic in the league. It is spreading fast. You got two defenses. You know, you started the wrong one. That's a problem. Why have those defenses if you're gonna only start one and it's gonna be the wrong one anyway? Get rid of that. Put some roster running back or something. You know, he's got a decent record, so I can't talk too much shit. He's been yucking it up all season. Dom, yo, the back and forth between them boys was nice this week. He just got eked out, you know. So his players didn't show up. No bacon on the bench to be heard of. It looks like my squad, you know. So
Hey, I just want to say, man.
Yeah,
I just want
please.
to say that, you know, over all this shit talk and everything, Mo wants to make sure that I put some respect on his name. You are the best dick in this league.
pause.
Pause, of course, big pause on that.
Pause.
Hey,
Right.
I wanted to go back, but I just don't have the time to with two teams that barely broke 100. But I think Mitchell actually lost his last game where he didn't start Buffalo D, and he started Washington D, and Washington, I believe, or he set Buffalo D, and then yes, he did. He set Buffalo D, and Buffalo D went off, and Washington D did nothing. So that's the conundrum. This is what we're talking about, Jared. Why have a conundrum on your team? And it's just from an analytical perspective. Why would you end up put yourself in a conundrum?
I don't know why. You can only play one defense that week. Why the fuck are you rostering two? You know, you're gonna start the wrong one anyway. Just drop one and pick up something else, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, we don't give fantasy advice on the pod, man.
That's not advice.
It's not really advice.
That's
You may not think it is.
fucking,
You know?
I don't know.
To guys
Maybe
that
it
think,
is.
to guys that
which is
talk like
sad.
they're champions, you know, and have never actually even been to the big game. I don't think either of them have made it past the semis. You know what I'm saying? You know, but again, that's not kind of what I'm here to say. Before I kind of forgot what I was gonna say when I saw the scores, and I said, wow, these guys barely broke 100. I think Dominic and Mitchell definitely both have potential. I think Dominic's not far out of the playoff race. I think if he keeps his head down, I think he has the potential for his guys to start showing up. Dobbins losing him, that hurt. But you know, I think we'll go ahead and move on. But you know, that whole Buffalo Washington conundrum thing, like it's not something that seasoned fantasy managers do. We don't have 4 tight ends and 2. That's 4 and 2. That's 6 spots taken up by defensive and tight end, which is the 2 least important spots other than
It's your whole bench.
It's your whole fucking bench taken up, and that's why there's no bench picking other than the conundrum. All right, moving on. Oda, I'm gonna let you introduce. I'm just gonna let you go, man. I'm gonna smoke a little bit, man. We are the Sunday Smokers League, so why not? Go ahead, man.
This week, it was me, All in the Family versus. I'm gonna give him Diggs had another win this week, man. He got a win. He beat me. But I will preface this whole statement, this whole segment here with saying, if you look down at the bottom over there, I got 4 of my top 5 players on bye week.
Wow.
On bye week. That's 4 of my top 5 players on bye week. And I was still able to come in close to a Monday night miracle had Russell Wilson got his head out his ass and threw the ball to Jerry Jeudy with some finesse.
Yeah.
And but this is not about me. This is about the win that, fuck. I don't want to say it. I don't even want to say it. Lost, got the win, man. We had a $50 bet on this game, man, because he looked ahead and he said he's got his best guys on bye. We put $50 on that, and he got that $50, man. But I made him sweat for it, man. And I guarantee you, the next time I see him, I'm gonna put a foot in his ass. And there's not really much I can say about that, man. That's all to it, man. I lost this game because I had 4 guys on bye that mattered, and I knew this week was coming, and I still had a chance, and it didn't happen, So Diggs got another win thanks to me. He's looking a little bit better this week. What you guys see from the outside looking in?
Jarek.
Well, you had no bacon this week. Everyone's on bye, like you said. So can't really hate too much. You went over 100, which I did not, so I can't really say too much shit. But that's your team has potential to bum out, bro. So you better watch your back because you're sitting on the edge of playoffs and not playoffs currently. And I'm coming for that spot, bro. So you better either move up or move on down because it's coming. It's coming. Diggs had a little lamb. I don't like associating my boy CD Lamb with loss. So, fuck your saying, really. For hating on the man, he came up. That was a good rival bet. He got your money this time, but you'll happily pass over my 50 from the Cowboys loss to the Eagles. So I can't hate too much. He got multiple defenses. That's some shit. You started the wrong one. Another example of a conundrum on a man's team, starting the wrong defense, rostering 2. You're going to start the wrong team anyway. Get rid of them,
He actually picked up that defense that week. He picked up that defense thinking it would be a better play for him.
Yeah, and you picked them up that week and still didn't play them. I don't understand.
No. No, he benched New England's defense and picked up Green Bay's defense and started.
So you
he paid for New England.
You paid for the wrong.
He paid for New England. Right.
Okay.
Y'all bid me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another example of conundrums. Why have them on your roster if you're gonna fuck up anyway? So that's all I got to say about these 2 teams. I mean, they're two good squads. Diggs had a little lamb, has a little more potential, maybe on the come up, but I don't like Geno Smith putting up 12 every week. So, and he's got a good wide receiver core. So I look for these teams to both make the playoffs this year. And moving forward, you're lucky. Most of your team is out. You took your big bye week, Oda, so you don't have to worry about that shit. Like analytics say, since we are analysts, let me hit you with some stats that statistically you'd rather take 1 loss on a week and have most all your players done with the bye after that. So you don't have to worry about filling holes the rest of the season. So good on you.
Yeah, good on him. But it almost sounds like one of those like underhanded compliments because when Jarek sent some shots your way, Oda Great. He said that your playoff spot is in danger, and he wants that one. He didn't say he wanted because none of the rest of them are kind of solidified. He said he wants yours. That's what's going
on. I've been known to put the parking gif into the chat. It'll be coming soon when I steal my parking spots. I'll be moving up the ladder. As we know, like we just said, all my buys are gone out the way. And from here on forward, I'll be just whooping ass. That's what I plan on doing. Whoop ass and take names. And I'm coming for Peanut. And whatever week we play in the future, that's what we're looking for. Beating the shit out of him, making the playoffs, and putting another one of these on this shoulder.
All right. That's very, very well put. And let's not just ignore the fact that Jarek is over there with the hemp rope smoking clean, because that's what we do in the Sunday Smokers League.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? We don't do that butane and all up in the fucking weed. We keeping it clean, because that's what we are with the smokers.
I wrapped it up.
Yeah, you are. Oh, you got to. That's the only way to do it. Get all fancy with the holders, but yeah, we're gonna move on. But Stocky, you're paying for defenses and then trying to throw them in trades, and you don't even want to start them. What are you doing, yo? Conundrum. I did pick you in pick'ems, so I'm glad you pulled that out. But sheesh, man, maybe this is the turnaround. Trying to Stocky 2 games straight. I could care less until you guys, are in some kind of contention. Let's go on ahead and wrap it to the last one. Jared, guy you've known since Pee-wee fucking football, T-ball, and real solid guy. Hasn't really made his way around to the chat as much as he wants to, but I'm sure he'll be there. Bob Russ, man, talk about it.
Facts, man. He's made his mark in the league and ain't said a peep. He pop up for rivalry week in week 12. I'm gonna get his ass in the chat and get him on a Zoom during the games or something.
Yeah.
But my team underperformed as usual, and we've made some moves recently and got some players back that we thought we could weather the storm. And the storm was over, but we didn't fare very well. We got some insurance claims coming.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes the rest of the season. My team kind of shit the bed, and Joe Burrow putting up 38. That's pretty much a dagger. The rest of his team, some shit. He's lucky to get the dub. Really, I should have beat him, but we stalled out, bro.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Oda, I'm gonna pass it over to you, because I kind of got a bone to pick anyway. It's not a big one. Pause. But
Well, you passed the Dutchie to the left-hand side, man.
Yeah, let's definitely do that. Go ahead and talk about this.
Well, if you guys are familiar with what dog water is, it's water with saliva mixed around, bubbly, gooky
Hair.
shit on the
Hair
side
in
of
it
it.
and bugs.
There's all types of yuck, and that's what Team Dog
Some
Water.
dirt.
You just
All
dirt
in it.
This
dirt.
saliva-written water all over the place, man.
With hair.
90 points under 100 was not a good outing this week. Did not look good. Got beat by a guy with a 0 in his lineup, man. Like he had a 0. If he had a bye week, he could have just left that guy on bye and he still would have got the win potentially. He did actually. He had Robert Woods. He could have left Robert Woods in and not picked up anybody and still got the win. Russ has been making some fantastic moves as a new guy, man. I don't know if this guy's a ringer, man. Where'd you find this guy, man? He's making these moves with this team that was already drafted for him, man. I'm going to not put him on too much of a pedestal anymore, man, because I'm just not really feeling it. So fuck his team and all the fucking moves that he make. But Team Dogwater didn't show up to give him any competition this week, and he just kicked that bowl over. I don't know if that water is going to be able to be put back into that bowl. The record's not looking too good. It's looking post-dickish, but he's made a couple moves to turn around going forward. But this week, it didn't happen. So I don't know what you saw. Did you slip in the dog water over there, babe?
No. See, I always see the hair and stuff. The hair is what really kills me about the dog water. I got allergies. It's a hair thing. My thing with Team Dog Water is, bless his heart, former champion. I there's a petty gene in me that just cannot let certain things slide. I've got pet peeves, and one of them is just trade rape. All right, trade rape it triggers me in a different way, and I have to do the math and do the research and do the numbers. So I did them, and I actually spoke about it in the chat. But I did these are the numbers. A trade was offered for me. 3 players for 1 player. That 1 player had about 22 points. The 3 other players combined had 15 points. 3 players. 3 players. If you had only just had Kenneth Walker, the JD McKissick, shit, who knows? Maybe you'd be closer. But I think with being a champion, being in the second guy and only second guy to ever go to back-to-back championship games, it just it's kind of almost like a slap in the face. Like, oh yeah, pish, JD McKissick, pish. You know what I'm saying? Fucking Rondale Moore, a guy that I already drafted, dropped, coming back from a hamstring, pish. You know what I'm saying? Free agent fodder, pish. Don't disrespect me. I'm him. I'm 5-1. I lead the league in points. Jerk.
I hear you, bro.
Explain yourself.
Hey, fuck your points, bro. You know what I mean? Hey, leading the league in points don't matter. Where you're at matters. You're first. I can't really talk too much shit, but you see Kyler Murray fucking me every week. I mean, what do? There ain't nobody on the waiver. There ain't nobody.
Well, what you don't do is you don't draft your top player and have him out for 6 weeks. You don't do that. That's what you don't do. But we're not going to go into that. You also don't start a guy named Will Dissly. It just doesn't,
God damn it, man. Big Montana, he stopped scoring as soon as I put him on my team, bro. God damn it. Big Montana? You little Montana, bro. Fuck out of here. I punted his ass this week. I kicked him out. He gone. I'm rocking Dalton, bro. Fuck it. One side in, one Dalton Schultz. Dak is back. I don't need for your services.
Oh my God, that's incredible, man. But either way,
terrible,
again,
it hurts. It hurts.
And Oda, you'll tell him, sometimes a trade will put you over and get you a championship, whether it's pill worthy or pill looked at as a pill or not. Right or wrong.
Sometimes you got to make moves, man. And like we say, man, if you want to get better from the bottom position, you got to make some moves. And I'll shout out to Dogwater. They made a move this week, man, and it might make their team better. And, I feel like it'll make my team better. So, hopefully he feels the same way. And that's a move we made. We made Mike Evans for Damian Pierce. And hopefully going forward, that'll, make both teams better. But hopefully not your team too much better. So.
Yeah, it's better, bro. The water is fresh. The water is fresh this week.
Okay. All right. Well, then
Bull got kicked over. It got rinsed out and cleaned. Cleaned with some hot water, sterilized, and soap, mild soap.
Okay.
He said mild soap.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That water's fresh, boy. Right out the Brita.
The Brita water. Yeah, that's how we do it. We don't do that tap water around here. Not even.
Right. You might need to get one of those recycling dog bowls, filters.
Touche, motherfucker.
Yeah, you got some wins to get.
Yeah, I think.
I know.
They're coming. Just to weigh in on that trade, I actually thought that was one of the more fair trades that happens in the SSL. In a long time. Both guys were able to, be willing not to pill each other because they're, habitual pill droppers. No, I can't say that about you, Jake. You're not a habitual pill dropper.
I am.
Nobody ever drinks the drinks.
I start low, bro. First rule of negotiation: you don't ever give your.
That'd be me,
offer.
Mr. King Bum Shuffle, aka Pill Cosby. That'd be me.
I like it. Oh, you own that shit. I ain't mad at you. But yeah, I like that. I think both teams will be better. And then so it's very easy to just go ahead and just smoothly transition over to the league pick'ems. We're gonna save some some news for the end, which will be on the message board already, maybe. But yeah, let's talk about our week 7. Oh yeah, that's right. We've already we've already started. So last week we had the weekly performance, and week 6 looks like Bean and Stocky picked 4 winners, and then we had the rest of the analysts. Robert, I'm calling Robert. He's got so many names. Filma Johnson was one of Troy's names back.
That's hilarious.
I saw that today. Filma, who wants to fill your Johnson, bro? Like
Andre Johnson.
You dancing in the cleats, offering your Johnson up. Troy, and then also you, Jarek, and then Oda and Peanut all had 3 picks, and that's great. That leaves the pick'ems with still my -5 that's not there. Bean with 21, Peanut with 19, Oda with 19, Stocky with 18, and Jarek with 18. And bringing up the rear as usual in most things. Feeling Johnson's 16 in last place. Shit, I've been talking for a little bit. Jared, let's go ahead and run through your previews this week. Let's get, let's move. We're gonna move because it ain't a lot to see this week. Week 7, coming off of a rivalry week. What are you thinking?
All right. Well, I picked pretty much the front runners, all the front runners this week. I went. I think I went with Russ Family Fantasy. I went with yeah. Sorry, man. This week.
No, analyst hats on, man.
Hating on the top. Hating on the top. You know what I mean?
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Oh, are you talking about the matchups this week, or are we doing pick'ems?
Yeah, we're talking pick'ems. We're talking pick'ems now. We're talking pick'ems now. And I don't blame you before you get back. That was a tough one for me. I have to go with myself because I'm me. But God dang it, I had already texted Russ, man, and told him, man, I'm glad we didn't have the Crown Royal Coors Light bet this week. But yeah. What were you thinking?
All right, so let me get up here. My bad, I was in the pick'em screen.
Oh, take your time.
Yeah. Oh, you're playing Russ, man, this week.
Yeah.
Playing my last week smack around.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yo, hey, Joe Burrow's a bitch whenever he puts up that 40 burger. So
Yes,
it's just, it's tough diggings with T. Higgins.
Good
I don't know. Chubb's been killing it. You got McCaffrey. I don't know. I read that fool's gonna have like a in zone package.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he's gonna get a whole lot of work immediately this week. I hope he gets a full workload for your sake, but fuck your team, so not really. I did pick Russ, man, this week, so I'll reiterate.
All right.
Mandrews, he's questionable, bro. He got in a full practice, so he'll be out there. I don't know. These teams are pretty close. It was actually one that I changed up before the Thursday night game, and I'm picking Burrow over Lamar this week. So
I respect that. I respect that. Why don't you run down the rest of your picks real quick, and then we'll move on to Oda. We'll get his picks.
Okay, so we are doing the pick'ems and.
Oh yeah, we're doing the pick'ems.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I picked Grey Poutron over the Killers.
Okay.
I'm underestimating every week until there's
until he wins
to put more L's on that column. So you just gotta hate on the top, and really I should be rooting to pass Tron this week. So I just looked at the roster. It looked like Tron was gonna get the dub. I think he's favored this week. I went and picked Dominators over Dick. I'm rooting for Double Dick at this point, gentlemen. It's Double Dick season. It's getting close. It's second half of the season is after this week, so we'll see. I think Dom has a good team. They didn't really show that last week, but they did put 200 on me and redded my cheeks earlier in the season. So I went with Dom there. Diggs had a little lamb over Motor Great Dig. That's I think it looks like everybody picked Diggs had a little lamb. Motor Great Dig has some management issues, managerial retardation over there. He's got four fucking tight ends and 2 defenses. That's a whole roster. That's a whole bench of tight end and defense.
Of nothing.
And then I pick myself. It's fresh. Dog water. The water is fresh.
It's fresh.
It's gonna happen this week. I didn't have toast. I got a little bit of burnt toast last week. Malfunction toaster. It's all good. Kyler Murray shitting on me weekly. But D Hop, welcome to the team, and let's get some good work out of the new pickup and Dameon Pierce. I get the dub.
I like that, man. Oda, I'm actually gonna jump in before you real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna do some news at the end, but and I'm gonna run through this really quickly. There's not a whole lot of debate with me. I made these picks really quickly. And it's also because I lead the pick'ems as well as the league. Pretty confident right now. I picked and like I said, the only one I'm really gonna take any time. Russ, man, god dang it, that team is really, really looking good. If Joe Burrow does what Joe Burrow's supposed to do, T he can stay healthy. You got one of the best double up situations in the league. You don't, only Jamar Chase would have made it better, but you can't get that with paying what you pay for, who you pay for. I'm gonna go with myself. I'm gonna go with PJ over Grapefruitron because the respect on his name is there. And this is something that I really wanted to change because I think Tron's team is really picking up, getting healthy, and getting some chemistry. And I think they're one of the teams at the bottom that could make that push just based on the roster. I went with Dominic because I am also down for double dick season, pause, waiting, just hoping. And it's my rival, so I want it more than anybody. I want to chastise him until he's punching that fucking mannequin in the garage and just he's forced to go outside. The wife is like, you know what? You're not going to do that to my couch. I like my couch.
Don't do that for the kid.
right. You're going to accidentally hurt somebody.
You're not going to act that way in front of the kid.
That's right. We won't have it. I don't want you to hurt yourself. But yeah, man, I want double dick season. I went with, and again, this is only because I don't know. I'm starting to see something that ain't all the way right with some matchups. And I do think that Nico's team is coming along and really chugging through and getting stronger. Even though the bench bacon is there, it's mismanagement. I think he's going to do a better job of managing his team. It was his happy birthday weekend. He's probably faded, what I'm saying, like I would be. And,
happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to him. He just didn't get done. But I think he gets it done against Island Family. Bad matchups, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. Chris Olave did show up. Lastly, I got, Stocky actually over my brother. I think Stocky's team is getting really strong as well. A lot of these teams at the bottom are getting strong. And I also picked the underdog, Team Fresh Dog Water, to upset the former champ. What do you think, Oda? What did you got?
All right, well, I'm gonna start at the top with Russ Family Fantasy versus Christian Mingle. I picked the Christians to mingle this week.
Wow.
We got some good matchups with the Christian McCaffrey trade. I think they're gonna want to show what their new toy is like and how it's gonna work in the system.
Oh yeah.
So it might be a nice little game, but it's gonna be a matchup this week. Okay, it's too late to go back and look at it. We had late pick'ems this week, but it's gonna be a good game. Pick Peanut this week just because he's been winning. Every time I don't pick against him, he wins. So if I pick him this week, this way, if he loses, he also loses a game. So I have some shit to talk, and he also loses a pick him. I think this is the week I'm gonna come out on top on the pick'ems. Also, but we'll get to that. Dom versus Dick. Of course, I'm going for double Dick. What else would I want to see but him lose again? Like, this is just the ultimate story of fantasy right here. This happens again. Like, I don't know where Troy's going to go from here, man. Like, it's bad, man. You're going to end up on a t-shirt. It's not going to just be a hat this time.
No, we're going to make Dick cleats.
Right.
Oh, that would. Oh my gosh, that'd be fire.
Make him wear them in Vegas.
Fake cleats, fake cleats that are sneakers, but they look like cleats. Oh, that would be amazing.
That'd be some shit.
Oh, that'd be
so I picked the Dominators to win this game. When it comes to me versus the Russians, I don't know which one of you. And you picked me, the Russians against me, which I don't know what kind of foolishness that was. I mean, not only is he projected to lose by a lot, but it's just not. It's not time to try me right now. I mean, I'm in the prime of my season. I'm going to show you guys something. But when it comes to Diggs had a little lamb versus Mo the Great Dick, again, man, I would love to put some respect on your name, but when you roster 4 tight ends, I think you dropped one, so you still only got 3 tight ends, but I just don't think you managed enough to handle these bye weeks, so I picked Diggs had a little lamb. I also went with Team Fresh Dog Water this week to beat the champ. He's got some buys and some things going on with his roster that I don't think are going to be enough to weather the storm, even though based off last night's game, he might be projected to beat Team Dogwater. I went with Team Dogwater this week. I think they got me projected at 4 points this week. So, I think I'm doing pretty good, and, we'll see.
Yeah, man. Analyst pool has been on fire. Been a great thing. And, even if you don't pick yourself, the chance to win $500 it's kind of just worth worth taking the chance on. And that's the pick'ems. And then before we get out, let's talk a little bit about the new rivalry system that we're going to be installing next season. I want to get you guys just final thoughts on that. And it's a system that I think really works. And just some background for the listeners out there that are not in the league or are and just don't know what's going on. But basically, every year we play our rivals on week 6 and then on Turkey Day week. So that's the twice. But everyone has to play another team twice, no matter what. And that's usually randomized. It takes a long time to figure out. It's and what does it matter? Especially if you can play a guy that you talk shit to twice a year, as well as another guy twice a year. So we're putting together this new it's put together new rivalry system, and I'll read them off. These names are not necessarily names that will stick as far as titles of the divisions, but I just came up with them because I was bored. But we've got the North Side, and this is the North Side rivalry. And this is Mo, Russ, and Dom pretty much exclusively. So Mo, his current rival is Dominic, and his new rival will be Russman. Russman's current rivalry is Jarrett. That will change to Dominic. Dominic will be Mo's rival already as he is, and Russ's rival as well, making a 3-way kind of triad situation that I'm calling the North Side. Then the second division will be, and the divisions weren't, first, the rivalries were, the divisions just worked out. The Champions Club, all guys that have won championships. Stocky and Oda have had their rivalry for quite some time. And now Stocky will add me as his rival, as his second rival. And then Oda and Stocky, of course, I spoke on that. Oda and Troy will now be a second rival. Oda will pick up Troy as a rival second game. And then Troy will, as usual, be getting beat down by me twice a year. But Troy, like I just said, Troy will add Oda. And that's just how that'll go. Bean and Troy, or Bean and Stocky, Oda and Troy, and then Troy and Oda. So that'll be interesting. And then the final one is D Block, because I just thought all these guys are down there just scrapping. You know what I'm saying? It's just fights every day on the fucking yard. You know what I'm saying? Shanks, knives, you know what I'm saying? Hooch in the evening. And that's going to be Jarek, Nico, PJ Tron, and Peanut. A little bigger. So 3 in the first, 4 in the second, and 5 in the third. And these new rivals will be Jarek's old rival was Russman. He's going to pick up Nico as his second rival, as his first rival. And then he's going to pick up Peanut as his second rival. And I think that's going to be a real interesting rivalry going forward. Both teams were interested in that in the chat. So we made that happen because, we get the people what they want in the SSL. And then we're going to have PJ, whose current rival is Peanut, the Battle of the Cooks, Battle of the Chefs. And then PJ will pick up Tron as a second rival because neither of them ever get into the chat. So that's their rival. And then Tron is, like I said, going to pick up PJ, but then Tron and Nico have always had their rival. So that will be what that is. And then we'll have Peanut picking up Jarek as a new rival and obviously having the Battle of the Chefs with PJ. So that'll be D Block. So it's a nice little situation. Everybody will get to play a team that they, want to play twice anyway for gambling purposes, just for shit talking, whatever it may be. Kind of really solidifies that and makes the schedule a little bit more something you can already kind of, put together in your head. How'd you guys feel about the system, and what about the actual rivalries? Jared, why don't you kick it off?
I like that you named them, and D Block and shit. I think it works, man. People be moving some money around,
yeah,
and other people be getting in their pockets. So I like it. There's good amount of shit talk back and forth, especially between those combinations that you named.
Yeah.
And I feel like this might get people, more active. Shit.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man, and that's kind of what the point was. That's kind of what. So yeah, if you had any more, please go ahead. Nothing else.
No. I'm just saying, like, it was a good idea because you play 2 people twice anyway. So if you can assign another person specifically, why not?
Yeah,
I'm down.
That's kind of
good idea.
What I was thinking.
It's the first I've heard of, this. Well, not the first I've heard of it, but the first I've heard the details in it. Sounds pretty good to me. Stocky's my rivalry, I guess. I got a bet every year with Troy anyway, based off our games. So this just gives me a chance to earn more money from him. So I can definitely take this, you know, anytime. So yeah, it sounds pretty good to me. I like it.
And I also thought about it just from a perspective of, you know, adding that extra rivalry week. So now, you know, your original rival, which again, you know, that's your rival. We all know this. We get it. You get this week 6, which is really just a random week that's halfway through the season. Then you get week 12, 6 weeks apart, and it's on Turkey Day. So that makes it special. You know what I'm saying? That Turkey Day week is what really solidifies a lot of rivalry bets because the points come up and then you're able to, you know, do your math. But the reason when I add the thing I did when I added the second week is instead of making it just some random weeks, I made it with your new rival. Your rivalry weeks will be week 1 and week 7, or no, not week 7. I think it's week 9. So what I did is I made it a first game every year. You know what I'm saying? So your second rival, you're gonna see him day 1. You know what I'm saying? Right after your draft, that's the first person you're gonna see. You don't got to worry about knowing. You're gonna see him week 1, and then we'll do week 6, which is like 5 weeks away, and that, you know, you get your rivalry week for week 6. Then we'll move on to week 9, which is 3 weeks away. You'll see that same rival again after y'all hit the waiver wire, went through your drafting, moved and managed your teams, and then on week 12, which is the other rivalry week, a little 3 weeks later, you'll go ahead and you'll play your second rival one more time at the end of the season to see where y'all really stand with your first rival, actually. So week 1 and week, I believe 9 it is. What y'all think about, you know, the way we schedule the rivalry?
Yeah, it sounds good, man.
I always like to come out with somebody's ass in week 1, so you know, it sounds good to me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if you're gonna sign someone specifically for week 1's ass whooping, that's nice.
That is that's kind of what I was hoping for. So again, man, you know, it takes a village to, you know what I'm saying, to do this shit. But you know, it takes a great leader, and I just, you know, I appreciate everybody following me. And I don't mean in the league, I mean in the statistic category, because I'm in first place. So all of you guys are just following behind me. You know what I'm saying? And then Christian McCaffrey to the Niners, man. I could drop a tear. I didn't know what to do last night. I ended up going out and getting just hella drunk. 2 margaritas.
Oh, excuse me.
What you saying? Oda, you shot something?
No, I had nothing to share.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? With that being that, man, it's the SSL podcast, man. And you know, we're gonna get out of here. You know what I'm saying,
man?
Jared, you know what I'm saying? We get you some hardware, boy.
Yeah, I hear you. My hardware is old, bro.
Yeah, that's okay though. It's hardware.
It's old,
I'd rather
bro.
have that belt than no belt. Trust me.
If you notice, there's a couple pills on this. These are the drugs.
I hear you.
I see the gold
on there.
No,
I see Julio. Then that's classic, man. That's really
all
nice.
that stuff. Yeah,
man.
Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope
Your
guys can.
belt sounds like it's missing some bolts, Bean. Sounds like some hardware is missing.
Oh, no. There's no hardware missing. This is just what it looks like when your belt is so intricate that each link has a 2-screw system. You know, but when I hear to talk about my
some
belt,
of these things are not like the other. Oh, my bad.
I like it, man.
I haven't seen that belt, bro. I know it's missing some hardware.
Oh yeah, you see it.
It is nice. Your belts are nice, man. Fuck your teams, bro. Fuck your old ass championships too, man.
Okay, all right. Inaugural.
Just as old as mine now.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
The past.
Hey, well, you know, maybe you can catch up to us and you know, maybe get a second one. That's, you know.
Get you something to commemorate it, you know.
Yeah, you know, always working, man. Always working. Always not working. So, you know, those who know, always not working. Anyway, let's get out of here, man. SSL podcast, week 7. We out of here, man. Fuck your teams.
Yeah, man. Fuck your teams.
Hell yeah, man. Peace.